I'm just gonna hit record and then
if you want to stand over there?
Yeah, if you want to. So this tripod is just not straight. Yeah, that should be good.
Did Brandon turn off my thing?
Maybe. One thing I'm gonna do to save battery also, so there's a button right here, top, back, right. So if like this thing falls off or something, you need to reset it. You'll want to like turn the screen back on.
Oh,
that makes sense?
that was not processing.
I think that's the right button. So I think it's this button right here. So if we like hold it, did we hold it? Yeah, there we go.
And what does that do?
It just shuts off the screen.
Oh,
like,
okay.
The screen is a lot of power, so I just don't want it to like go dead while you're.
Gotcha. And is it recording now?
Yeah. So as long as the light is on, it's recording.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if it like falls off, just hit that button. Or hold that button until the screen comes on.
And then I can reset it. Okay, gotcha. Do you know how to? Okay, so Brandon must have put this on so that he could just press this. Do you know how to take it off?
You want to like get rid of that whole thing?
Because I used to be able to tap anywhere and just.
Okay. Wow, that's so cool.
I can just text him as well.
Smart's new touch. Oh,
Let's do a video.
Oh. Okay, whatever. I'll just double tap then. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's looking nice. Where is it?
I'm coming.
Thanks, thanks.
Oh, let's put on my music. All right.
Good luck. See ya.
Thank you. Hello. Can you please get your journal and take a seat? Hello.
Do we get to choose your
journal? And, yeah, just choose your seat. Journal, take your seat.
Really? Start to choose it?
Hello. Journal and take your seat, please. I think one person's journal is missing that I'll have to find.
Yeah.
Or get one.
Hurry up.
Journal and take a seat, please. Whose is it yours? All right. Okay, that's strange. We will work on that, Maria. For now, we'll get started with the lesson. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
I like your energy. Thanks. So we're gonna need some of that today. We're gonna dive right on into it so we can get to our Sour Patch activity that I'm sure you all are excited about. Can I have someone read our objectives for today, please? Yes, Lisa.
Data table, track, solar patch, data collection, data type, introduction.
Thank you. That's our agenda. So we're just gonna do a little bit of preparation for our Sour Patch activity. Then we'll actually do the activity, and then if we have time, we'll go through different types of data that we've collected from that activity. Can someone read our objectives? Nancy.
To think about what you might record different types of data to practice reporting data.
Exactly. So as scientists, we have to take data in all the time. We have to write down the things from our experiments, and sometimes that data is in different forms. And then on top of that, on top of collecting that data, we have to figure out how we're going to present that data. So we're going to be collecting data today with our Sour Patch activity. And after that, we're going to be, or as we do that, we're going to be trying to format that data as well. And because of that, our essential question is how do we keep track of the information that we obtain? Can I have, Nancy, can you give Maria a piece of paper for now until we find her journal? This is so strange. I knew how to last class, yes? All right, yeah. I'm gonna come around with a pen or pencil, and you can put your hand up if you want a pen. If you don't have your hand up, we'll assume you want a pencil. All right. Wait, not pencil, right? Pen? Pencil. Okay, hand up if you want a pen. Pen, Kevin? Pencil? Pencil. All right, cool. Before we dive into that, there's a piece of paper in front of you, a little small paper that looks like this. And I'd like for you, we'll just take about a minute to write. If you have any questions or if you're confused by anything with respect to independent and dependent variables, because we did that last class, and just want to make sure you're clear on it before we move on to something else. We'll revisit it, but I just want to make sure that everyone's good. So if you do have a question or if you are confused about something, feel free to write on the sheet of paper your point of confusion. You can also look at your notes and see what you wrote. This is what we wrote as the definitions. You can look at your examples. So yeah, I'll take about a minute to do that whilst I run Daniel through what we did last class. All right, cool. Did everyone, if they needed to write, have enough time? Thumbs up if we're good. If you needed to write on that piece of paper because you had a point of confusion or you had a question with respect to independent and dependent variables, did you have enough time to do so? Thumbs up if we're good and we can move on. All right, cool. Okay, so we are talking about data today and data collection and data preparation. And basically, the data is the things that you collect. The information that you collect based off of your observations, based off of the things that you might measure, and there's ways to record that data. So we have to think think about how exactly we want to record that data, and usually we record that data in things called tables. And those tables will have headings, because the headings will make it clear what we're doing and what we're measuring or what's being identified. So here the plant group was the top of the heading, so we can assume that they had 7 plants. Here we can assume that they took the pH of those plants, which is what's indicated in the heading there. And then we can see that they took the average growth of the plant. And that's all clear to us from the headings. And then we have units sometimes, because sometimes we're recording things in centimeters, meters, grams. And it doesn't make sense to write 25.4 centimeters, 33.0 centimeters, and centimeters in this entire column. So what you do instead is you just put centimeters at the top. So sometimes you would think about the units. And then the last thing is that tables are neat, because if they're neat, then when you come back to it, you can access the information a lot easier. And can anyone tell me like one difference they see between the two tables and how the information was recorded? Is there anything that's different between this table and this table with respect to how they wrote down the observation or the data? Yasmin?
That in the top one they use numbers, and in the bottom one they just
Right, so has anyone seen these types of lines before? Or seen numbers be kept in this way before? Christian? Yasmin? So do you know what these are called?
Tally mark?
Tally marks. Has everyone done tally marks before? Thumbs up if we've done tally marks. Great. And do you know why we might count something in tally marks instead of writing numbers? Anyone, like what might we be doing that would make it easier to keep and count in tally marks as opposed to writing down numbers? Christian?
They count on 5.
You can count in 5, so it makes it, Yasmin?
it would be easier when recording data as soon as you see it.
Right, so if we're recording things as soon as we see it, and we need to count things, if we need to count things and be able to keep track of things in an easy way, then it might be easier to put tally marks, right? Let's say you need to count all the kids that you pass walking along the street. Would it be easier to write 1, 2, 3, 4, or would it be easier to write tally marks, keep them organized in multiples of 5, and then count at the end? Probably a little bit easier to keep tally marks. So I want you to think about, because you're going to have about 10 minutes to prepare your own data tables for the Sour Patch activity. I want you to think about, do you want to keep track of things in tally marks? Do you want to keep track of things by writing down the numbers? Do you even need a table for all of the information? Do you want to make 2 different tables? And you're going to be creating a data table to represent this data here. So what you're going to be doing with the Sour Patch, just to recall, is going to be in partners. And in those partners, you're each going to measure the length of 3 Sour Patch, the width of 3 Sour Patch, and then each of you is going to eat 1 Sour Patch at a time, but you're going to record, the other person who's not eating is going to record the time that it takes for the other person to eat a Sour Patch. And you're going to eat 3 Sour Patch. And the reason that I'm making you do it 3 times is because in science, you need to check yourself. So you don't just do an experiment once, you get more accurate results if you do an experiment multiple times. So I'm getting you practicing to do things multiple times. So you're gonna record all of that stuff. And on top of that, I also want you to write down so you're gonna eventually go through the whole bag of Sour Patch, and you're gonna write down the colors that's in each, how many colors of each there are. So if there are 3 blue, you're gonna need to write that down. If there's 5 red, you need to write that down. And on top of that, the last thing is that you're gonna need to write down how they taste. So do all the flavors taste the same? Do they all taste just as sour? All 3 of the ones that you ate? Were certain colors more sweet than the other, or did certain colors predict a certain flavor? Things of that nature. So you have quite a few things that you're going to be writing down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that you're going to include in your data table. I am going to give you about 10 minutes. Do you think 10 minutes is good for you to create a data table with respect to this? Hands up or thumbs up if you think we can create a data table. Great, excellent. I'm happy to see that. I have rulers for you, but I think 10 minutes and I'll check on and see how that's going. But does everyone know what we're putting in that data table? Right, so you're writing down observations about how it tastes because you're going to be eating it. Kevin, can you give me another thing that we're putting in the data or in our data?
Record your time and eating them.
Right, you're recording the time it takes for your partner to eat it. Are you eating 3 Sour Patch at once or are you eating 1 Sour Patch 3 times? Right, so you're eating 3 different Sour Patch individually. Nancy, can you give me another thing that you're going to be recording down when you're writing your data?
How long am I?
How long they are and how wide they are. And there's one more thing. Can you give me, Maria? Right, how many there are total in a bag. Now, I want you to think about, do I want to make 1 data table? Do I want to make 2 data tables? It's completely fine to make 1 data table to record color. It's completely fine to make 1 data table to record everything. It's completely fine to write down your observations about how it tastes, not in a data table, and just record it below your data tables. So think about all that. Do you want to make 1 data table, 2 data tables, or 3 data tables? And I'll be coming around and helping and everything. So I'm going to leave this up, the information you need. I'm going to give you 10 minutes, so at 1:24, and we'll play music as you work. And I'm going to try and find Maria's notebook. So, also can I have a hands up of everyone of who has their phone with them in the room? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, cool. So we have 5 people with phones, which means that those 5 people can be timer. We'll be with someone who doesn't have a phone, so that you all get time. Yeah. Yours dead fine. Someone can use my phone, or we can also use the computer. All right, cool. So let's go to the second part of our notebook. After the second tab. Actually, no, let's go in the first tab. So let's go after our notes about variables. So notes about variables, and you can just turn to the next page and start creating your data table. Can we put the date and then just put Sour Patch activity as the heading? And then you can take the time to create your data tables, and I'll be coming around to help you. I'll also give you your rulers. I do ask that we create our data tables in pencil, just because it's easy to make mistakes. I'm gonna put 1 ruler between 2 people, and you can share. But I also encourage you, before you start writing, to talk to the person on the side of you about how you plan to set up your data table, just because I don't want you to start writing and you find, oh wait, that's not gonna work. So you might want to think about, how many columns do I need? How many rows do I need? Do I need 3 different headings? Things of that nature. Yeah. And I'll come around and talk to you all. All right. Maria. Did you just leave it on the table last class? also need to label like Sour Patch number 1, Sour Patch number 2. So that's 4, right? Cool. So now we need four spaces. So now, do you know how to create left people? Not yet, because you know how much space you're gonna need. Thumbs up if we'd like assistance as a group. Alright, cool. Let's get on board. Okay, so alright, so let's think about our first data table. Do you think that we could create something similar to this?
Yeah.
Right. And if we did, what might a column here be? What would this be called? Actually, first, what would this be called? For our activity, we're doing Sour Patch.
Sour Patch number.
Right, Sour Patch number. So we know that we can write Sour Patch number. Great. Now, what are we recording about that Sour Patch? Or about those Sour Patch? That's a very crooked line, but you're going to use a ruler. Itzel.
How about there?
How wide they are. So we know we're writing width. Can I write width as a heading? Great. And we also said that if we need to, we're going to use units, right? What are we measuring the width with? Centimeters, because we're using a ruler, right? So I can put centimeters in brackets here. Great. Omar, give me another thing we're recording about a Sour Patch.
How long it takes you to do?
How long it takes you to eat the 3 of them. So someone give me a title that we can come up with for how long it takes you to eat the 3 of them. Can we come up with a shorter title? Time to do what?
Time to eat.
Time to eat. Great. And is there a unit for that? Seconds, right? Do you think it's going to take someone 1 minute to eat 1 Sour Patch? It'll probably take them a few seconds, right? Yeah?
Yes.
So should we measure in minutes or seconds?
Second.
Great. So I can write an S here. Yes, Omar? All right. Christian, can you give me something else we're measuring with the Sour Patch?
Counting how much?
We are counting how many there are. Now, do we think that we can, in the way that we formatted this table, is counting how many there are something that needs to go for each one? Or is that something that we can do at the end? At the end. So should we include it in this table?
No.
All right, so what else can we include in this table? So,
How long they are?
how long they are. And what would a heading for that be?
No.
Length. Great. And are there units for that? Centimeters. Great. So now we have our 4 different rows, our 4 different columns. And how many Sour Patch did I say I want you to take measurements for? 3. So how many lines going across can I make? 2. All right, cool. So that's like to underline my heading. So 1, 2. Great. And I can write 1, 2, 3, right? Yeah? And we typically don't leave our tables looking this way, so we'll close it up. So we can close it up to make it a 1 box. Your table should look better than mine because you're using a ruler. But that's that. We have our first table done, no?
Yeah.
Cool. And are we missing information? Did I want you to record other stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. So what are the other things that we can put in a table? Do you think we can make a table that looks kind of like this? Nancy says yeah. I kind of agree with Nancy. She said yeah. I think we could put red, blue, orange, purple, and then count how many there are in each pack. Yeah? So if we do that, then I'm going to go over there. All right? Follow me to over here. If we do that, then What might a heading be for if we're creating a table to count? Color. Yeah. So it still says color, so I can write Sour Patch color.